Today I want to talk about the summer coding boot camps, the coding schools, and how fantastic they are to start your programming development journey. Now, I'm working from home today. As usual, I'm a remote developer, but I'm downstairs today because I'm looking after my very poorly cat, who we think has had a fight. He actually has, he actually has a cone on his head, bless him, Flick, because he's been in a bit of a fight. He has some stitches, but I'm working from home today, and I got a fantastic, lovely little email the other day that I really want to talk about, and it's kind of spurred off this conversation that I want to have with you guys around coding schools and coding boot camps. Let me go and see if I can grab the letter. Bear with me a mo. So the letter is from Lynette Brown, and I do hope, Lynette, that you don't mind me mentioning this on the channel here. She has two sons, and they've been watching some of my HTML tutorials, and they have taken part in an after-school coding program last month at their school, and they've been really interested in programming since. And this is awesome. I've got the email printed out here. They mention how helpful the page has been, and they've used it several times. And so Lynette decided to send me an email to thank me about the programming stuff. She goes on to say that the two sons are called Alex and James, and she might be putting them through like a coding school, coding boot camp in the summer to sort of pique their interests a little bit. And I think this is fantastic. I think that is an amazing thing to do. Kudos to Lynette there for seeing an interest and pushing the children into what could become a fantastic career, or at the very least a fantastic hobby. The thing is, programming is one of those things that happens all of the time. Everything we use in 2018 onwards relies on some form of program. You go to the shops to buy your food, you use a program. A program runs whenever you perhaps use the ignition in your car. We have sensors in this house which are triggered, which turn the lights on whenever the doors are open and closed, that kind of thing. Again, an application writes that kind of stuff. I touched on IoT just there, which is the Internet of Things. You are basically now limited by the imagination, by your own imagination. And Lego Mindstorm, that is fantastic as a means of applying those skills in a building kind of way, right? So you're building robots, you're building applications for school programs, or for robotics challenges. I mentioned that there was a robotic challenge the other day, I think it was in Birmingham, using Raspberry Pis. So you could use Raspberry Pis, you could use those Arduino to discover electrical engineering as well. So programming is just the tip of the iceberg. The beauty with programming as an industry is that it is extremely broad. When you say I am a programmer, the next question is, well, what is it that you are programming? It's a bit like saying that I am a doctor. It's like, well, what medical profession do you specialize in? So you have areas of specialities. Same with being a chef, being a cook, being someone who is able to make lovely, tasty dishes. It could also be cakes, could be cooking, specializing in fish. When you are a doctor, you could be a surgeon. Well, what are you a surgeon of? Is that a surgeon of a particular body part? Are you specializing in that kind of thing, right? So saying that you are a programmer, saying that you are a doctor, saying that you are a cook or a chef or a baker, they are extremely broad things, right? And so you need to have time in order to navigate what kind of specialities you're interested in. And it's one of those things, of course, because you might not like a particular specialism of programming. But that doesn't mean that you don't like programming, okay? It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be a programmer because you don't like to work on the front end, or you don't like a particular type of programming, style of programming. Perhaps you are programming on directly on hardware, and therefore you are dealing with memory and all of those kind of crazy things, and you want to be a little bit more abstract, perhaps, and therefore, or you might want to turn to robotics, or you might want to turn to web development, that kind of thing. So you can navigate your way through these programming waters. You can select what it is that you want to do. You can also drop things as well. The skills of being a programmer is extremely transferable. Now, that is a point that I want to make here, is it's all about having the opportunity to know what your specialism is, and to try things out, and to fail at some things. I do believe that you must fail at certain things, because that gives you an ability to know what it is and what it isn't that you're interested in. If you fail at something, but then you keep pushing and pushing and pushing at it, then that's obviously an interest, and you want to learn and develop and all that kind of stuff. But if you want to just back away and go, actually building applications that are specialized for perhaps robotics isn't really my thing. I don't really care about the sensors on the doors, that kind of thing, or the IoT. I want to look at how we can actually build e-commerce shopping carts. What I'm trying to say is that programming is one of those things that you just have to try, and you have to try different specialisms. And this is why I think it's fantastic to do those coding boot camps, those summer schools, those coding things where you and do coding challenges as well, because you start to play around, you start to learn things. Now, when I first started programming, the very first line of program that I ever wrote was on I think it was one of those BBC computers, very old computer, and it was attached to a pressure pad, and so that pressure pad had like a response, so it would then echo something out to the screen. That was way back when I was at school. At the time, I didn't really think much of it. It was just like, I didn't come away from there thinking, oh, I'm going to be a programmer. That's what I want to do for the rest of my life. At that time, I still wanted to be, I think, a policeman or a fireman or someone in the army or something like that. So another point that I want to make is, if you go away from those coding boot camps and you think, actually coding isn't for me, then don't dismiss that again when you look at your options when you are older. Don't go, oh, I tried programming once when I was knee-high to a grasshopper and I didn't like it, and therefore I'm not going to like it again. Don't do that. Instead, what I would highly recommend that you do is you just try it out again, because your tastes change, your desires change. To Alex and James, and to all the other kids who are looking and being encouraged to do programming by their parents, then I do highly recommend that you just try it out and have fun. That is the most important thing to remember. Don't get too worried about coding standards and the industry way of doing things. Don't worry about the crazy acronyms and the overcomplicated things that you might, assume that we programmers do. Just have fun with it. Just have fun and run with it, and build something that is kind of interesting to you, right? So, if you're interested in computer games, build a computer game. If you're interested in, say, running, then build an app that supports your other hobbies. Okay, so if you're interested in running, write an app that records how many times you go running. Write an app that does some sort of GPS work to measure the distances. If you're interested in Lego, then use Mindstorm and actually build a robot around that. And it's fascinating. It is so fascinating and fun. If you take away the whole mundane industry side of programming and actually just look at programming as a means of having fun, It can be extremely therapeutic, and it can be extremely rewarding, and it can lead to some awesome things in the future. So to everybody who is interested in programming, who perhaps hasn't done programming before and really wants to get involved, have fun, happy coding. I'll see you again soon. Cheers, bye.